Hello, thanks for watching. This is just a very quick run through of the ICT IGCSE paper 2, and it'll be for the document production task. And it's from May-June 2022. Okay, so starting at the source files, you can see we've got some rich text files, a picture file, and some CSV files. The first task is to open the evidence document and make sure that your name, sentiment number, candidate number on every page of this document. We then need to save it in your work area as the same file name followed by your candidate number. And then throughout this paper, you need to put your screenshots when required. The first task, here's the evidence. And it says to appear on every page in the document. And name, sentiment number, candidate number, it doesn't say where. So I'm just going to put it in the top, which makes sense. So your name, candidate number, and center number. If it's in the header, it will appear on every page of this document. We then need to save it, save as. If you save it to your area and change it with your candidate number at the end. Okay. So task 2 for the document. So it's for a company. They have a house style for all documents. Good. So open the file charter. Okay, I've got this open here. You can see it's just a lot of text. And already the page is set to A4, it's portrait, it has 2 centimeter margins, and the key thing is do not make any changes to these settings. There's also 3 paragraph styles. Do not make any changes unless the paper tells you to. So what that means is up here we've got the YC body, YC subheading, and YC table are already created here. So first thing, save that to your work area using the file name YC guide. And then it says take a screenshot to show it's been saved with evidence of the file type. Okay, that's the most important thing. And then evidence 1 is a screenshot of that. Okay. So first thing, we need to save it. I'm just going to save to my desktop for now. It needs to be called YC guide. You need to make sure it's exactly the same, all capitals, just to make sure you don't lose any marks. So make sure it's exactly the same and save. And then our evidence can be, if you need to get some of these showing the properties, right click, view, and make sure you're on details. If these don't appear, you can select them from a list. To start with, I'm going to take a screenshot, and all I'd like is this one. So it shows the type of document as well. It's an RTF file and the name. And I'm going to paste that into my evidence document. Perfect. Next question. Number 1 is done. Number 2, place the text Tawara Adriatic Charters center aligned in the header. Okay. So the key thing here is in the header. It's not in the main text. So at the top, in the header, it needs to be center aligned. And I'm going to put the text in. It needs to be spelled exactly the same. Place in the footer page numbers and your name, candidate number, right aligned. In the footer, down here, left aligned will be a page number. Insert, so your header footer tools up here, sorry. Page number, bottom of the page, and in the left. Okay. Now, if you want to get something right aligned, if I was to go to the top and press right aligned, it puts it over there. But a way to make sure you always do this is just double click over here, and you can put your name, candidate number, and center number just in the bottom corner. Okay. So we need to make sure it's center aligned between the page margins, the footer is aligned in the page margins, there's nothing else in those areas, and they display on all pages, which we have done. Okay. That's 3 marks. Number 3, create the following paragraph style, basing it on the default paragraph style. So it needs to be called YC title, okay, and it needs to be on the default paragraph style. Okay, so first thing, I'd make sure this looks like the title, so I'd have my cursor inside this paragraph, which is looks like the title. I'm going to click here and create a style. It will be called YC guide. First thing I'm going to do is modify it and then follow those instructions. So first one, it needs to be a sans serif font, so without any flicks or style. An Arial would be the best for that, 34 and right aligned. So I'm going to choose Arial, it already is, size 34. I can type that in because it's not there. And right aligned. Okay. The next instruction is bold and italic. Bold, italic. And line spacing single, 0, 9 spaces after. So you can find that up here, but to make sure you can go to Format and Paragraph. The line spacing is single, 0 before, and 9 points after. Again, if it doesn't come up, we can type that in. Okay. Single and OK. Okay. And down here, you can see an example, and this is the key information. The next one is a screenshot, and we can take a screenshot of this page just to show what you've made. The only thing I needed to check on, style based on, we can keep it there as the default style. I think normally you'd press normal as well, but let's keep it on the body. Okay. And there we go, and it's changed to look like that. And then you can put your screenshot in evidence too. Okay. That's one style, and there we go. So YC title is done. Question 4, apply that to the yacht charter guide, and that's for 1 mark. Yeah, and already, because I clicked on that paragraph before, just that. If you find you were in another paragraph and when you added that, it might have done something like that. So I would make sure your body text is to there, and this one is the guide. Yeah. Okay, next question. Select the subheading, types the charter, and the following text up to including the paragraph ending are free if you eat with them. Okay. And change the page layout so it's 2 columns, equal width, with a 1 centimeter space in between. So we can see types of charters here, and to find that next bit, we can press Ctrl F. No. So the text is from types of charter to are free. So Ctrl F is find. Instead of looking through all the text, are free if you eat with them. That takes us straight to that paragraph. So you can use Ctrl F to quickly find something rather than reading all the way through. So highlight everything you need up to the end of that paragraph. Make sure you leave the first paragraph and the last one, because that's what it's asked for. Then on layout, you're going to add columns. Don't choose 2, let's go to more columns, because you can choose 2 columns with a 1 centimeter space in between, equal column width, and press OK. Okay, and then just check if that worked. Yes, so it's moved it to 2 columns until the end. Okay, next one, import the image boat and place it in the beginning paragraph. And then rotate the image 180 degrees, 4 centimeters width, aspect ratio maintained. It needs to be the right of the column and top of the paragraph and alternative to, and the text wraps around the image. Okay. So if we find that paragraph, it's here. It needs to be in the top right. If I insert it just at the top, and we're going to wrap it around. Insert a picture, and I think I've saved mine here. Boat. Okay, you can see it's upside down. The first thing you can press is on rotate, flip it vertical. It said to wrap it. It didn't say how, but if you do it tight or square, it's inside the text. And then you can move it to the right-hand side of that paragraph in line with the margin. It needs to be 4 centimeters width, and this has aspect ratio on because it's changing at the same ratio. And then again, just move that to the right of the paragraph. Okay. And text wraps around the image. Yeah, so we've done all that for 4 marks. So next one, sort the list from fuel into alphabetical order. That's 1 mark. So this is a different skill than I've seen in other past papers. This is the list here. If you highlight the list, and it's got this little sort button here in paragraph. So sort, if you press this, we're going to sort by paragraph. So each of these is set as a paragraph. Ascending. Okay. And that quickly moves it around. So you don't have to drag and mix it up. That'll take a few minutes. We did that in a few seconds. That's sort over here. Okay, and number 8, apply bullets. Make sure the bullets are in the left margin. A single line spacing after each line, and there's a 6-point space after the last item in the list. Okay, so the bullets. Did it say what sort of bullets it was? No. So we're going to put some bullet points on here. Okay, and it's indented it a bit. It wants it on the left margin. So if we highlight it, you can see if you put it to the left, nothing happens because it's already indented. That's on layout, and we're going to get rid of this indent, and we can put it back to 0, and it's aligned to the left now. Okay. After this, we need a 6-point space. We've already got that, and I think it was single line spacing. Okay, and the last one is a single line spacing. It looks like it already is. Let's go into paragraph here, and single. It already is. So I think this looks like it's set in the body text, which already has that. Okay, so that's 2 marks. Next one, the subheadings. It's already applied. It says to modify the style so it looks like this. Okay. So up here, if you find the subheading, already you can see I changed this one, which obviously isn't a subheading. So maybe find the subheadings, and then we can click on modify, just so it doesn't change another part of the text. So right click and modify, and you just need to check that it's the same as this one. So it needs to be a serif font, size 16 and center. So this is a sans serif font, so we can change it to Times New Roman, which is serif. It needed to be size 16 and center. Center aligned. It has bold and italic enhancements, but not underlined. And the next one was the spacing, single line spacing, and a 6 space after. So before 0, after is 6. Okay. And that's everything. If you press, yeah, so before we close that, we need to take a screenshot. And while I've got that box open, can do that and press OK. And I'll add that to evidence number 3. Okay. And there's 4 subheadings. And you can see it's already changed all of them. Just make sure the subheadings have changed as well, and they're set to the subheading. Okay, next question. The YC table paragraph, and apply the table style to the text in that table. So in this one, the table's sort of hidden. There's no lines behind it, but it's here. You can see the cells, but they don't have any borders or anything on them. And if we apply the table style, let's change the font a little bit. Okay, so that was 1 mark. And format only the first 2 rows of the table so they look like this. It looks as if they're shaded. Only the first 2 rows. So we can see let's just look at the question again. Boat length 12, 15, 20. And this is merged. Okay, what I'm going to do is look at the next question as well. So it needs to have a 1-point borders and the outer grid lines. Everything is on 1 line. It fits in the column width, and there's a 6-point space after that table. So there's lots to do. So the first thing, I'm going to move the table so if I make any changes, I can see them. I'm going to select everything, and this is the grid lines. It wants all borders. Okay. Now that's a bit easier to see the next question. I can see that this one had to be merged, which is in layout in the table tools. Merge those cells. And these ones, boat length is a bit across, yeah. So we can merge these 3 columns into 1. And then if I can resize that a bit, so it looks like the example. Okay, that looks a bit more like it. Okay, and then it looks like the top is slightly shaded. So I'm going to add in maybe a light grey shading. Okay. After the table, it wanted on layout, I think it was a 6-point. Space after the table. Okay. So after the table, after 6, but that's in the last column. If I click there after the table, there's already an 8-point. So to get around this one, we can put before a 6-point, and there's a little gap there because it's not letting me put one after the table. So what I'll do is just put one before. And table borders, data fits in 1 column, all text on 1 line. So I can see all of these fit in 1 line and everything's in each cell. Perfect. Okay, that's 5 marks. Next one, number 12, last question. Spell check and proofread the document. The list and table are not split over columns or pages. Let's have a look. So maybe zoom out to get an overview. So the list is here and the table's here. It's not on across 2 columns. There's no widows or orphans. So if there's a part of a paragraph on the next line or something, we can move across. No blank pages. So obviously there's only 2 pages here. Widows or orphans, let's have a look. There's a little bit here which could be moved. And there's a big paragraph going across. Okay. This one, you could maybe add an extra gap or space after here. So I'll change it. No. So undo. Yeah, just to make that paragraph a bit further down, spread out a little bit. Okay, but I think it looks okay with widows and orphans. There's nothing moving across. And paragraph styles have been applied as instructed with consistent spacing. Okay, and there's a 6-point space after the table and the list. Okay, if you did all the steps, that should work, but just check, obviously between paragraphs, it's like a 6-point space after. Yeah, and between the subheadings, I've added a gap there. It looks a little better, I think, because that was squashed up here. We put the gap in after there, and before the table, there's a little gap as well. Okay. So I think that's more or less finished. And the last one is your printout. Make sure your name, center number, candidate number on your document. So before you print, just double check that your name's on every page. Yep. You can go to File and Print. Look at the print preview. That helps you have an overview as well. And then print that off for your printed evidence. Okay, and then that's the end for 25 marks. Okay. Final thing, quickly look at the mark scheme and see if we've more or less got that right. Yep, so it looks very similar. The picture's in the same place. The gaps between paragraphs looks the same. And the tables merged. Presentation. I've spotted one thing. Mooring. The paragraph obviously needs to be there. So that's one mistake I didn't spot. So I thought this one was the title of this end, but it's actually up here. So this would be an orphan. So if I press enter again, this subheading's at the top, and then there's a gap. I can put that back. Yeah, and then this is the final paragraph. Okay. So yeah, just making sure that your subheadings follow on. Yeah. So I made the mistake. I thought that was the subheading for this last one, but it's actually up here. Okay, so that would be an example of a widow or orphan. Okay, so print that off, and that's the end of the Word section of this paper. Okay, thank you for watching.